Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the HSC Alliance Masterclass on Halal Marketing. My name is Tieman, the CEO of HSC Alliance. In today's masterclass, I will be covering the topics of the building blocks of halal marketing. Also, the halal value chain I will be covering, followed by halal marketing mistakes. So what are the building blocks of halal marketing? First of all, it's good to realize the size of the halal market. The halal market is a multi-trillion US dollar market, not only covering food, but also non-food, such as cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, Muslim friendly travel, modest fashion. Next to that, we also have a big Islamic finance sector. So if you talk about the food and non-food, we talk about close to 3 trillion, 2 to 3 trillion in the years to come. Islamic finance, on the other hand, is another 5 trillion US dollar and also fast growing. Those halal markets are not only in Muslim majority countries, but also non-Muslim countries. We have big Muslim populations such as China, Russia, Europe, Americas, and also like in Asia, we have also Muslim communities also in Thailand and Singapore. So the halal industry is a multi-trillion industry covering both Muslims in Muslim countries and non-Muslim countries, but also non-Muslims are consuming halal products. It's a fast-growing industry and even certain areas and double-digit growth annually. So if you talk about the halal market, how best can we serve the Muslim consumer here? So if we talk about halal marketing, we talk about those activities to identify and meeting the needs of the Muslim consumer. The core marketing concepts in halal marketing covering market segmentation. So what is the focus? The marketing channels, so how to serve those Muslim markets. And third, about the halal value chain and network. So I will dive slightly deeper into each segment, in particular the halal value chain and network, and just shortly touch on the market segmentation and marketing channels. We also conduct more extensive master classes, and then we will dive much deeper into those topics. So if you talk about the market segmentation, it's difficult to identify the Muslim, because the Muslim doesn't exist. We have a great variety of different types of Muslim. So the Muslim from the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, is very different from the Indonesian Muslim or the European Muslim. So we have a great diversity range of Muslims and their particular needs. We have different Islamic schools of thought that shape the needs of the consumer. But also the location where the person is based, the kind of lifestyle, which in Europe is very different from Asia and the Middle East. So instead of identifying the Muslim, it's looking at what are the benefits we can bring to the consumer in those different markets. Unfortunately, there's a systemic lack of data on the Muslim markets and also the needs of the Muslim consumer. You have some academic research that is taking place, but there is still an extensive lack of data regarding the Muslim consumers, the needs in the various markets, and in particular how best to serve those markets by the industry. If you talk about the halal marketing channels, it's about how to serve the consumer. So are we making use of business to business, halal trading portals? Are we making use of business to consumer marketplaces? So how to serve? Have we seen some conventional marketplaces that created also halal marketplaces? And we also see that we have focused only the halal portals that are focused only on the Muslim consumer. If you look at the supply chain behind it, both comparing traditional and also halal portals, we see that often the backbone of those halal trading portals or the consumer marketplace is still conventional. So we often see that the logistics is often not well addressed in the business to business and business to consumer halal marketplaces. So this is something that is important. We see that countries like Indonesia is making the halal supply chain mandatory by law. Therefore, it's important to address halal throughout the supply chain end to end. Another topic is the measuring of the performance of the halal marketing channel. So in my book, Halal Business Management, I've dived much deeper into metrics to measure the performance of the halal marketing channels. It's important to create performance metrics, measure that in order to improve the performance in serving those Muslim markets. If you talk about the halal value chain, you might have heard about the value chain from Michael Porter. So, as you know, as some of you might know, I'm also a part-time academic. I established a halal value chain, further building upon the value chain of Michael Porter. So in the value chain of Michael Porter, you have primary activities and also supporting activities. In the primary activities, we have the inbound logistics, the sourcing, operation, outbound, and branding and marketing and services. These are the primary activities. And what we see in traditional halal certification, that there is a focus on the operation and manufacturing. There are certain requirements on the inbound logistics, in particular if it's animal-based ingredients. And outbound logistics often focus on the national distribution center. In countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, we see that the national distribution center is halal certified in many cases. However, further downstream the supply chain towards the distributor, we not always see that's the case. The same with the retail operation, although Indonesia is making that also mandatory by law to be certified, also the retail side. Branding and marketing is an important topic. Our previous masterclass covered the topic of halal branding. Today about marketing, important to address halal services as well. The services which are required in certain for certain products to be sold, like maintenance. That's an example of a service. Then we have the supporting activities. Procurement is an important supporting activities. In fact, the most critical if you go for certification to make sure that the ingredients and primary packaging are halal certified. Sustainability is an important area to address. Also from Islam, the religion Islam, there are various references on the importance of addressing sustainability, in particular areas such as waste, energy, and also water management. These are examples or where sustainability are critical. Human resource management is not only looking at evaluation of performance, is looking at the training of the staff, that also people are trained on halal matters. We also have to look at the Sharia compliant infrastructure. This will be looking at Islamic finance and also Sharia compliant insurance, takaful. We see that Islamic finance and Sharia compliant insurance is well addressed by the Muslim consumer. If we look at industries, we see a much lower pickup of Sharia compliant financing and insurance. So another area is halal risk and reputation management. We often see that at board level and CEO level, we do not see any key performance indicators which are halal related. Often we have only operational indicators at department level. For halal certification, you need to establish an internal halal committee. At the internal halal committee, we often see operational indicators, if there are any incident, how many people are trained on halal, but not for corporate level, we don't see KPIs, so that's a big miss. There are also opportunities to provide zakat as an organization, to contribute to zakat. In the Middle East, corporate zakat is mandatory by law. In countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, the contribution to zakat, corporate zakat, is not mandatory by law. It's often a big threshold to start with zakat for companies, because once you start it, you cannot stop it anymore. And a zakat is a fixed percentage per year, so you cannot change that. An alternative to zakat would be a wakaf contribution. And these are models I've been exploring also in relationship to industrial zone development, halal industrial zone development, where we can use the wakaf instrument also to stimulate the halal industry development and its cluster. So the halal value chain is an important area to work on for companies, and it covers also the aspect of marketing. The halal value chain is far more complex than the halal supply chain. We see that Islamic finance and takaful is not always easily available, and throughout the supply chain becomes complex. So this is something to work on, and you need a multi-year roadmap to build a proper halal value chain. If we dive a little bit deeper in each component of the halal value chain, either primary activity or supporting activity, we can identify direct process activities. These are activities directed involved in creating value for the Muslim consumer. Indirect process activities that make it possible to perform the direct activity. Then we can identify quality assurance activities, which are related to the tie-up side, the quality control. There can be direct or indirect activities, and we have the halal assurance activities to be identified with clear halal control points. So also in branding and marketing, you can identify important control measures. So if you want to implement a halal value chain and extend the halal value chain towards a supply chain, its network, it becomes much more complex. So the halal value chain is after the supply chain, the next step. The halal value chain, implementing this requires alignment throughout the network. So if you're a brand owner, a manufacturer, for example, Nestlé, the Nestlé halal value chain, you want to expand towards the beginning of the supply chain and towards the end of the supply chain, that every partner in the supply chain is contributing to the brand owner halal value chain. So this is future music, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't start with it today. Make a multi-year plan to develop the halal value chain and align this throughout the brand owner supply chain. The next topic will be on the marketing mistakes. So marketing and sales is part of the primary activities in the halal value chain, as what I just shared. And it will define the relationship with the Muslim consumer. And we've seen over the past years a lot of halal issues and even scandals where the Muslim consumer were even boycotting brands because of their mistaken action. And often that results in communication issues that are not well addressed by the consumer, resulting in big impact for brand owners that might result in boycotts, and also that you lose a lot of your sales and even reputation as a company. And so what are important pitfalls in here? So one of the basic mistakes is that marketing is not involved in halal certification. When you want to get certified for your manufacturing or services, you need to establish a halal assurance system. Often in the establishment of the halal assurance system, manufacturing is important, is normally always in there, and also purchase and procurement. We often see not that marketing is involved, and marketing has an important role in communicating to the market. They are building contracts with distributors. They are in contact with retailers. So marketing will be essential to manage the downstream supply chain from the brand owner. There are also halal control points in marketing to make sure that there is a halal clause with the distributor, that halal is addressed also at retail level, that the halal products at the supermarket are not positioned next to the non-halal products, that the distributors that are being used to distribute the products are not mixing their products with non-halal products, that also the distributors are educated on halal. And so marketing plays an important role in assuring a halal supply chain and therefore also protecting. Also marketing is going out to the industry. They're making advertisements. They are also on expos. They are making commercials which are shown. And so marketing is reaching out, and it's important that marketing understands about halal, that understands to avoid making mistakes, that put their brand, the customer brand, the client brand in danger. So I've been conducting many audits over the years. We did this for big multinational companies. Often we see that the factory is not the same location as the head office. In the factory, we always see that everybody is trained on halal, received the halal training, but marketing is not based in the factory, it's based in the head office. And we always have meetings in our audits and helping companies to get halal certified or developing a halal strategy or roadmap. And then we also have a meeting with the marketing director. And one of the last questions before leaving my meeting with the marketing director is asking, when was the last time you were trained on halal? And I do that as the last question before I leave out of the door. And then often they are very honest and say, Marco, I have not been trained yet, but it is in the planning. And that's often the case. What I see that the operation people are trained, the procurement team is often trained, but marketing is not trained. And that might cause a lot of problems in the supply chain, that there is no halal clause in contracts with distributors and retailers, and that the wrong message goes out in the marketing efforts, in commercials, in marketing materials, and when they are on expos. Another mistake is regarding to product names and symbols. So some product names and symbols are related to non-halal activities or non-halal products. Like bacon, for example, is a product derived from the pig. So beef bacon might be confusing for the Muslim consumer because bacon is from the pig and beef is from the cow. So is this a mix of product? And also the way it is positioned, it looks like bacon. So this might be confusing. You might see a halal certificate, but it's a confusing name. And some halal authorities in Muslim countries might not allow this to be named bacon if it wants to be certified. Also, root beer, a product like that might also be confusing. It says beer in the title, so is it beer or not? So some countries also do not allow the use of the word beer for products if you want it to be halal certified. Also, and all the example below here is non-alcoholic wines. Wine is alcoholic. What does it mean? What does it mean non-alcoholic wines? Is that wine with less alcohol or non-alcohol? Has it been fermented? So in case for Malaysia and Indonesia, if the product went through fermentation, like for beer and wine, even though after the process of fermentation you remove the alcohol, still not allowed to be halal certified and be claimed halal. So there are different interpretations also by halal certification bodies regarding the use of words and also what is allowed for halal certification. So also an example was some years ago that some Christian celebration that it was not that it might invalidate your halal certificate if it was used for halal certified bakeries or halal certified coffee outlets or restaurants. It was also put in the news a few years ago. So these are sensitive issues that might see some actions by halal authorities in some countries. Another area where you always should look at when you talk about marketing is how do you position the image of the product. A good example is in this picture. On the top, here you see Barbican, and you see the bottle, which looks like a beer bottle, and also the beer glass with also foam on it. And that macho guy is drinking from the beer bottle. So this is a typical image of a beer. On the other hand, below, in the picture below, you see the same product, also Barbican, but you see it positioned as a non-alcoholic beverage, like a juice. So halal authorities in Malaysia and Indonesia, that they only will allow you to certify a product halal if the look, feel, and character of the product portrays a halal image. So they would be able to certify the product below, but not the product on top. So if you would position your product in a market like that, you will get in trouble with the halal certification bodies in Malaysia and Indonesia. Also in the marketing, this might not be well received, even though if the halal certification bodies allow this to be certified, it might also not be well received by the Muslim consumer that does not want to be associated with beer, but rather with a juice. So these are complex issues. Also, the sales promotion is important, which is an outreach to the market. They might have promotional outlets in the supermarket or at expos. This is an example of Wardah, a cosmetics company from Indonesia, a leading cosmetics company, not only selling in Indonesia, but exporting all over the world. And they have put a lot of attention also in the sales promotion, the way the people dress, professional, but also conservative. So it's important in your sales promotion to be either halal positive, conservative, or halal neutral. So on the left, you see another promotion of Wardah, a flyer. So you see there a lady with a headscarf, but also a lady without the headscarf, but she is still modest dressed. On the other hand, you see a promotional flyer from Garnier. So that's a French brand that is also having products that are halal certified, but they have a more Western look, a non-Islamic look, and that might be a challenge in certain conservative Muslim markets to present a product or solution like that. We see in Islam a lot of festivals, which is important to celebrate. So if you want to be successful in Muslim markets, is important. We just completed the fasting period and have the Eid celebration. So during Ramadan and Eid, you see that several leading brands are celebrating also with specialized products. So on the right, you see a beverage that contains dates, for example. So you make even recipes that are specific for those celebration. Also, we see a great marketing by Magnum, part of Unilever, where they show the moon from the ice cream. So Ramadan and Eid are important celebration, which you should address as a brand owner. Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice, is also important. And also the Islamic New Year, you can use with specific promotions to reach to the market. A marketing mistake is also to create products on the edge of halal and non-halal. So the hamburger, the first part of the hamburger is ham. So ham is a product from the pig, so that might be confusing for the Muslim consumer. So if you design a product that is on the edge of halal and non-halal, you have to be very solid in how you promote the product in the market, the naming of the product, and make sure you have solid, strict halal control points, including in marketing and sales, to make sure there's no confusion by the consumer. Another example is non-alcoholic beverages. You see that some of the beer brands are also creating non-alcoholic versions. It's good to realize that for certain Muslim markets, like in Southeast Asia, so that for certain Muslim countries in Southeast Asia, it is not allowed to use products that went through fermentation. So fermented products that later remove the alcohol are not allowed to be called halal by halal certification bodies in Southeast Asia. Also another problem with non-alcoholic beverages of beer companies might be that the look and feel is quite the same. So here we see that some, like the Heineken and Heineken 0.0, it's quite similar. So that might also be difficult for the Muslim consumer to differentiate between those two bottles. We also see product like Barbican, which does not have an alcohol product, but non-alcohol only. So creating products on the edge of halal and non-halal is very complex. And in case you decide to do that, it needs to be very well designed. I've been working with brand owners in that space of halal and non-halal in designing strategies, marketing strategies, but also operational and supply chain designs to make sure that there's no confusion for the Muslim consumer and issues in Muslim markets. A final note on marketing. So we see that halal is founded, of course, on the religion of Islam. It is a sensitive matter for Muslims all over the world. Marketing and sales is an important part of the halal value chain and needs to be addressed. I've shared with you some common mistakes I've experienced in Muslim markets, helping brand owners to improve the halal market approach. It's important dealing in Muslim markets to make it robust by design. So the halal value chain is an important emerging requirement which should be addressed by brand owners in order for them to be successful in Muslim markets. Before we go to the Q&A, I would like to thank you for joining this masterclass. Next month we have another masterclass, and I will share with you soon on the topic and when it will be exactly held. Thank you very much.